You didn't notice the exact moment it happened. There was no loud alarm, no sudden crash. You just picked up your phone, scrolled for a few minutes, maybe 10, maybe 40, and when you put it down, something inside you had shifted. You weren't sad, not exactly. You weren't angry, but you felt heavier, smaller, like the air had been let out of something you didn't even know you were carrying. And the strangest part? You couldn't point to what caused it. No one insulted you. Nothing terrible happened. You just watched other people live their lives, and somehow, that was enough to make you feel like you were failing at yours. This is not a video about screen time. This is not about algorithms or notifications or how many hours you spend online. This is about something far more intimate, far more hidden. This is about what happens to the way you see yourself when you spend years absorbing curated fragments of other people's existence. This is about the slow, almost invisible erosion of your own identity, your own worth, your own sense of being enough, not because anyone attacked you, but because you watched and watched and watched until you forgot that what you were seeing was never real in the first place. Let me take you inside the mechanisms that no one talks about. The first thing that happens is something psychologists call social comparison. It's ancient. It's wired into us. Long before phones existed, humans looked at each other to figure out where they stood. Are we strong enough, smart enough, valuable enough to belong? This instinct kept us alive. But here's the problem. For most of human history, you compared yourself to a handful of people, your neighbors, your family, the few dozen faces you encountered in daily life. Now, you compare yourself to thousands, tens of thousands, algorithmically selected to be the most beautiful, the most successful, the most magnetic versions of humanity the platform can find. And your brain doesn't know the difference. It still processes every image, every story, every life update as if it were someone in your village. So when you see someone younger than you buying a house, someone with your exact body type looking flawless in a swimsuit, someone who started the same business as you but somehow made it work, your ancient brain whispers, they're ahead of you. You're falling behind. And it says this hundreds of times a day. But comparison is only the first wound. The second is subtler. It's the highlight reel effect. And you've probably heard this term before, but I want you to feel it, not just understand it. When you scroll, you are not seeing lives. You are seeing performances. You are seeing the single best frame out of 1,000 discarded ones. The angle that hides the acne. The caption written and rewritten until it sounds effortlessly deep. The vacation photo that doesn't show the argument that happened 5 minutes before. And yet your brain, your honest, pattern-seeking brain, starts to build a model of reality based on these performances. It starts to believe that everyone else is living in a state of constant beauty, constant adventure, constant peace. And because you have access to your own unedited existence, because you know your own doubts and failures and messy mornings, you begin to feel like the only one who's struggling. You feel like the only one who's pretending. And this is where something darker begins. You stop just consuming. You start performing. You start constructing a version of yourself that you think will be acceptable, likable, worthy of attention. Psychologists call this performative identity, the self you build not from your own values, but from what you believe will earn approval. You take the photo not because you want to remember the moment, but because you want others to see you having it. You share the opinion not because you believe it deeply, but because you know it will resonate, get likes, get shares, make you feel, for a brief moment, like you matter. And slowly, so slowly you don't notice, you start to lose track of who you actually are underneath the performance. Your identity becomes a mosaic of reactions, shaped not by your own inner compass, but by the feedback of strangers. This is where the dopamine loops tighten their grip. Every like, every comment, every follow triggers a small hit of validation. Not satisfaction, validation. There's a difference. Satisfaction comes from within. Validation comes from outside. And the more you rely on external validation, the more your internal sense of worth begins to atrophy. You stop being able to feel good about yourself unless someone else confirms it. You finish a project and feel nothing until you post about it. You have a beautiful day and it feels incomplete until you've documented it. You become a spectator of your own life, watching yourself from the outside, wondering how it looks, instead of feeling how it feels. And here's the cruelest part. While all of this is happening, social media feels like connection. It feels like you're part of something. You see your friends' faces, you laugh at jokes. You feel the warmth of a shared moment, a relatable meme, a comment that says same. You feel like you're finding inspiration, saving quotes, watching tutorials, absorbing ideas. You feel like you're staying informed, keeping up with the world, being a responsible, aware person. But underneath these feelings, something else is growing. Isolation, inadequacy, a strange, nameless envy that you can't quite shake. A fragmentation of your attention so severe that you've forgotten what it feels like to think one thought all the way through. You are more connected than any human in history, and yet something inside you feels more alone than ever. And your sense of reality itself begins to fracture. You start to measure your life not by how it feels to live it, but by how it would look if someone else were watching. You become the audience of your own existence. You imagine the post before you've had the experience. You wonder if this moment is worth sharing before you've even finished feeling it. The present becomes raw material for content, and the algorithm, indifferent, efficient, keeps feeding you more faces, more lives, more reasons to believe that you are not enough. If any of this sounds familiar, I need you to understand something. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are a human being whose brain evolved for a world that no longer exists, now navigating a landscape designed by engineers who understand your psychology better than you do. This is not your failure. This is a mismatch between who you are and what you've been given. But awareness is the first crack in the wall. And you're here, you're listening. That already means something. I'm not going to tell you to delete anything. I'm not going to give you a list of rules. I'm just going to ask you one question, and I want you to sit with it long after this video ends. When you put down your phone tonight, who are you without the feed? Who are you when no one is watching, when there's nothing to post, when the only opinion that matters is your own? Can you still feel yourself in that silence? Or does the silence feel unbearable? The work is not about quitting. It's about remembering. Remembering that your worth was never up for likes. Remembering that your life doesn't need an audience to be meaningful. Remembering that the most important moments of your existence will never be captured, never be shared, never be seen by anyone but you. And that's not a tragedy. That's the whole point. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the psychology of being human in a world that's not always designed for humans, subscribe to the channel. There's more to unpack, and you don't have to do it alone.